the last 25 years, I've had the privilege of interviewing and highlighting some truly interesting people. Everyone who is anyone, both the famous and the infamous, from presidents and their first ladies to kings and queens, movie stars and pop stars, captains of industry, heads of state, sports personalities, innovative entrepreneurs, and some pretty fascinating everyday people. Today, I'm proud to introduce you to Dr. David De Harter, a retired radiation oncologist with a passion for art. Dr. De Harter, it's such a pleasure to talk to you today. And I want to start off with the basics. How did you become involved in oncology?
Well, it was in medical school, making rounds with a surgeon who later left the University of Wisconsin and relocated to be the second in command of the MD Anderson Cancer Center in Houston. I liked his take on life. I liked his approach to disease. I liked his optimism for the individuals that he took care of with cancer, but also just for the whole field of oncology. He seemed to have a vision that this whole field was moving forward. And this is a long time ago. At that time, the cure rate for tongue cancer was 10%. Yeah, pediatric cancers, probably 4 out of 5 kids with cancer died. Now it's just the opposite. The cure rate's probably 90% for tongue cancers, and the cure rate for the kids is probably 4 out of 5.
Dr. De Harter, take me back just a little bit. How long did you work in the field? And just bring us a little up to speed on really not just oncology, but the specialty within it, radiation oncology.
Well, oncology, of course, is the study of research of and treatment of people with cancer. Mm-hmm. It's a big field. It's what you'd call a smart medical field. It's fortunate to get, I'm not bragging here, but it's a fact, it gets people off the top of the deck. Tragically, as a social engineer, you do it exactly the opposite. People who take care of women and children, pediatricians, obstetricians, unfortunately, you're dealt off the bottom of the deck. At bottom meaning how smart, how talented, how ambitious, that kind of thing. So our society, regrettably, is kind of turned upside down, maybe, at least as far as a social engineer would see it. But oncology appealed to me as a really smart field. When I was in the Navy, pardon me, I was obligated because I took a program in the Navy for my medical school years and for my internship. When I was in the Navy, a friend gave me a textbook about radiation oncology. And I could see you dealt with big problems, not little ones, and you could see if you're any good. It's like a lot of the sports that we watch. Their charm is that you can see readily if someone's any good or not. There's very little BS in it. If you consistently strike out, you're no good. Oncology, you can see if you're successful, compare yourself to other people, and sort of like a sport or golf, you're playing against yourself. So it keeps you on your toes.
Absolutely. Pretty much if you're going to be a success or regretfully a failure, because that truly impacts on people's lives. I'm curious, sir, what are some of the signature accomplishments that you feel strongly about as a doctor?
Well, I'm, I would say, an inventive person. That's kind of the core of what it means to be a human in a way. Separates us from the other great apes is inventiveness, and I have that quality. So I invented a program in my residency to space these tiny radioactive elements, seeds, and keep them in position in the body where the tumor lay long enough so that the dose would be given properly to the full 3 dimensions of the tumor. If you just stick them in there loose, the fabric of the body is such that muscles move, things, you know, shift, and those seeds kind of jumble out of position. Anyway, my invention was seeds in absorbable suture. So this material, after a while, was absorbed by the body, maintaining these seeds in position and then leaving them in position when they went inert. And that sort of thing. So I'm kind of inventive. I invented another thing called the Harter holder at the MD Anderson. It holds the remaining testicles safe from the radiation that you're giving to the scrotum. So it's kind of people kind of snigger a little, you know, when they see me, because they know the Harter holder. He's the Harter holder guy, you know.
I shared with you earlier that a radiation oncologist diagnosed my thymoma, or found it when I was 19 years old and in college. And literally because they were looking for everything.
Yes.
I believe they were able to find it. I didn't have tremendous symptoms, but because of that good work, I'm alive today. I find that your career to be tremendously fascinating. Obviously, you have accomplished so much as a gifted and talented doctor, but you moved through your medical career, and I like to refer to you, sir, as a Renaissance man, because art then became a passion for you. I hope that does not offend you, sir.
No, I had to reinvent myself because I lost my wife.
Oh.
But art has helped a great deal.
Tell me about your wife's inspiration to help you with that passion.
Well, we collected art. So if the great family of art, you know, includes the gallery owners and the art critic, Clement Greenberg, you know, in the days of the abstract expressionists of New York, if it includes the collectors and the artists themselves and all the other people involved, the auction houses, we got to know them all. And we collected a great deal of art, and good art, and we did it with what I would call the Venn diagram method, Star, where my wife, she liked these things, and I liked these things, and whatever was between them is what we collected.
I love that. But you're actually, as they say in my business, you're burying the lead, sir. You were not just a collector. You are an actual visual artist yourself.
I must say, when you're making art as opposed to collecting art, it's a completely different experience, and it's very hard to explain it to anybody.
Well, I want to make sure that the audience understands the visual art that you actually have chosen that to showcase your talent is as a sculptor. What drew you to that specific medium?
Well, I think it's probably the most difficult way to make what you call these days fine art. I work in clay, and it's either fired clay when it ends up with glazing, or it's in bronze. And I've got a couple of dozen pieces now, what you call a body of work or an oeuvre. And a number of them are heads, but I've a number of things besides that. And I think this is remarkable, truly. I know you were very fond of Chadwick Boseman. Independent of my knowing anything about Chadwick Boseman, except I saw him on the family, no, Jeopardy, Black Jeopardy.
Oh, for Saturday Night Live.
One
of the funniest scenes I've ever seen.
Oh, he was terrific. He was just terrific. But I didn't know about him in his movie, the one with the Jaguar.
Black Panther.
Black Panther. I didn't know about that. But at that same time as he's making that movie, I made a piece. It's very heavy. I made Wakanda Woman. I don't know if you can see Wakanda.
Oh my goodness, yes indeed.
Yeah. Which Star is available for you.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about what your inspiration is behind the pieces that you actually sculpt.
Well, like I said, it's not at all what I anticipated it to be, this process of making art. So there has to be some kind of idea in one's head, you know, imagination. Regrettably, there's also the matter of skill. You know, you've got to be, my instructor, he says, smarter than your medium. You must be smarter than your medium. And you could almost define art as skill of mind in making.
So Dr. De Harter, let me ask you to leave our audience with something. What was the one thing that you'd like the viewer to walk away from with the diversity of your career and the diversity of your interests?
Well, yeah, I think today people have kind of lost their sense of humor. I mentioned the Black Jeopardy. I mean, it's you know, people are taking all of this way too seriously, and they're getting so angry. There's no point in doing that. We are all brothers and sisters. And
one of my other favorite quotes from the art world, creativity takes courage. And I'm just so grateful that you had courage.
Star, it does. And Matisse, the great painter, Henri Matisse, said, art should have three qualities. It should be beautiful, it should be uplifting, and it should be expensive.
Well, since you are not letting go of your children right now, I can't wait to see what price tag you put on the first one. Dr. De Harter, it's such a pleasure to talk with you. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you so much, Star.